Good morning, third graders. Today is Friday, April 17th, and we're going to work on lesson 2 in Unit 5. Our I can statement for today is I can write equations to find areas of rectangles and use given perimeters or areas to find unknown side lengths. So we're going to use this shape, and a couple questions I want you to think about before we start is, what is the area of this yellow shape, and what is the area of the green? We're also going to think about some ways to use addition to find the area of the rectangle, and we're going to think about ways to use multiplication to find the area of this rectangle. So let's start with using addition to find the area of this rectangle. Well, we know that, let me get my stylus. Sometimes I forget to do that ahead of time. So we know that this side we have a 3, and this side of the yellow we have a 3. So if we add up 3 plus 3 plus 3, we know that we have, that's not very dark, is it? Let me see if I can make it a little darker. See if that works better. 3 plus 3 plus 3, 3 3's equal 9. We can also look at the green rectangle, and we know we have this side as 3, this side as 4. So we can again do 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 3. So I'm going to do that right down here. So 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 3, we know that that equals 12. When we add 9 plus 12, that gets us 21. That's how you use addition to figure out the area of this whole rectangle. How can we use multiplication to find the area of this whole rectangle? We can start by looking at the yellow rectangle. And here is the yellow rectangle, and we have 3 times 3. And then we can look at, and 3 times 3 gets us 9. Next, we can look at this green rectangle. And sorry, the yellow is a square. I keep calling it a rectangle, but as you can see, it's a square. So let's look at the green rectangle, and we have 3 times 4. So 3 times 4 is 12. And when you put those two together, 9 plus 12 gets you the 21. Or you can also look at this entire rectangle and know that this side, 3 times all of this, 7. So 3 times 7 is 21. This is called the distributive property. After you watch this video of me presenting, I have a video in this folder that you can watch as well. When we use addition and multiplication to solve, I'm just going to erase some of this. This is what it looks like when you use both addition and multiplication to solve the area. It would be 3 times 3 in parentheses plus 3 times 4 in parentheses, and then you know that 3 times 3 is 9, 3 times 4 is 12, and that would equal 21. So that's how you would show it in a addition and multiplication sentence. So we are on page 337 in your math workbook, and we're going to write different equations for the area. We're going to use these drawings. We're going to show two ways to find the area of a rectangle that is 10 units long and 6 units wide. So because it's 6 units, we're going to put a 6 here, and a 6 here, and a 6 here, and a 6 here. And then it's 10 units long, so that means from here to here, it is 10 units long. And this is 10 units long. So what they want us to do is to split the 10 into two numbers that equal 10. So I'm going to pick a 2 and an 8, because 2 plus 8 is 10. I'm going to draw a line right here. So this right here represents 2 over in this area. And this rectangle right here represents, this side right here represents 8, but this side represents 6. And then they want us to show another way to represent the 10 units long so we can figure out the area. So I'm going to do a 4 and a 6. I'm going to make my line here. Question number 2 says to write equations for your two rectangle drawings. So the first rectangle drawing, we have a 6 times 2 right here. And we're going to put that in parentheses. And then we have a 6 times 8. So I'm going to put a plus in the middle, 6 times 8. Another way to show that is to say that 6, this 6 right here, times this 10, 6 times 10 is another way to show the equation. So that would be rectangle, the first rectangle. Let's do the second rectangle. So we have this 6 times this 4, so 6 times 4 in parentheses, plus this 6 times this 6 in parentheses, and that is also the same as 6 times 10. 6 times 10. Then it says, suppose the rectangle is 10 feet long and 6 feet wide. What is the area? So 10 times 6 equals 60 square, and looks like we're talking feet, I believe. Yes, there it is, feet. You can abbreviate feet like that. Then it says, suppose the rectangle is 10 meters long and 6 meters wide. What is the area? So again, if it's meters, it's 10 times 6 equals 60 square meters. Number 5, use drawings and write equations to show two ways to find the area of a rectangle that has 9 yards long and 5 yards wide. So since it's 5 yards wide, we put a 5 here and a 5 here, a 5 here, and a 5 here. Go ahead and pause the video if you need to draw your rectangles to catch up. Then we need to decompose or take apart the 9 yards. So I think I'm going to do a 3 and a 6, because 3 plus 6 does get us 9. And the first thing that we take care of is we multiply 5 times 3. So that's this rectangle right here. And then we're going to add it to this rectangle right here. So this is going to be 5 times 6. And that equals 5 times, and really what we're doing is, do you see this 3 and this 6? We're just putting that together to say 9. So 5 times 3 plus 5 times 6 is the same as 5 times 9. And now that represents the first rectangle, and it shows us the area. The second rectangle is this one, and I'm going to, again, I have to take apart the 9 yards. So I'm going to do a 5 and a 4. And so my first equation is going to be 5 times the 5 in parentheses plus this rectangle, which is going to be 5 times 4 in parentheses. And that is the same as 5 times 9. So again, we're putting this 5 and this 4 together. We're adding it together to get that 9. Or in other words, that 9 is right up here because 5 plus 4 is 9. So there, we just showed equations to represent the area of a rectangle for 9 times 5. Now turn to page 338, and we are going to write an equation for each rectangle. So we're writing equations and we're using these drawings. And so when you look at this first rectangle right here, it is 4 times 3 in parentheses. And if this side is 4, then this side is 4 as well. We're going to add it together, and we're going to say 4 times 5 in parentheses. And that is the same as 4 times, and here's where you put the 3 and the 5 together, times 8. And I know some of you are going to want to get that answer. However, you don't have to. It's just the equation that we're working on right now. So next, we're going to put together number 7. So 5 times, here's your 5, here's your 2, times 2 in parentheses, plus, we're going to put together the area of this rectangle, 5 times 4, because this side is also 5 in parentheses. And that is the same as 5 times, here's the 2, here's the 4, times 6. Okay, so I'm going to have you work on number 8 and number 9 on your own, and then you can check the answer key in this folder. Next in this lesson, we're going to draw a rectangle for each equation. So we're going to do the opposite. So here's a rectangle, and we know that we have a 3, so this is going to be our 3, and our 3 is also going to be over here. And these are the two numbers that we put together. So we're going to say this side is 3, and right over here we're going to say that's a 5. So that is a way to show this equation in this rectangle. Number 11, we're going to make another rectangle. And here's our next rectangle. So here's the 4 and here's the 4. So the 4 goes right here and the 4 goes here. And then a 5 and a 3. So when I split apart this 8, we're going to have 5 here and 3 here. So that's what that rectangle would look like. Number 12. We will have, here's the 5, so the 5 goes here, and the 5 goes here, and then we have a 3 and a 6. So I think this equals about 3 right here, and this equals about 6 right here. And I would like you to go ahead and do number 13 on your own, and then you can check it. Now we are on page 339, and we're going to figure out the unknown sides. Find the unknown side length in each rectangle. So we know that area is length. Whoops, that's not going to work, is it? There, let's try this. Is length times width. So we have to use our division, or we could say 8 times what is 72. So you can count by 8s to figure